Welcome back, everybody, and today we're taking a look at the fifth film in the Universal Horror Monsters and Curiosities box set from Umbrella Entertainment. And yeah, like the previous two films, this film is directed by Paul Linney, and it is 1928's The Last Warning. It was actually his final film as well that he directed, and it is a mystery film, a silent one, clocking it at 78 minutes long. Although there was an actual longer version out there, 87 minutes long. That was also a part talkie, as they called it back then, so it has some sound elements to it. Unfortunately, the silent version is seemingly the only version that is available, and the silent version is only 78 minutes long, so we've lost 9 minutes of footage and part of the sound. So yeah, this 78-minute version was the silent version that was released to certain theatres or cinemas that hadn't yet been able to update their technology to sound, because it was still ultimately a new technology at the time, and not every you know theatre had upgraded their systems at the time. So yeah, certain films were still released in silent, even if there were a sound version out there. And yeah, this film stars the likes of Laura LaPlante, who was also in The Cat and the Canary. And you've also got Montagu Love, who was also someone who transitioned from silent cinema to sound cinema quite effectively, as he had small to medium roles in the likes of The Adventures of Robin Hood, the 1940 version of The Mark of Zorro, and Sherlock Holmes and the Voice of Terror. And you've also got John Bowles, who would go on to be in Frankenstein as well a few years later. So a producer decides to reopen a theatre that had been closed for 5 years previously when one of the actors was murdered during a live performance, by staging a production of the same play with the remaining members of the original cast. So at least, yeah, the ones that are alive, obviously. So although this is billed as a mystery, due to that being the central aspect of the plot, this also quite frankly came across as a screwball comedy mixed with some horror. As yeah, this is due to there being plenty of laughs, several of which come quite quick and fast for a silent film. Now, obviously, the main aspect of a screwball comedy is that the people talk fast. The script is rather quite um, squeezed together in terms of how quickly everything is said. The jokes are like several a minute or sometimes like that, or even quicker than that. So yeah, screwball comedies are quite fast paced. Like Bringing Up Baby and other ones from the late 30s. One of my favorite, more newer ones will be What's Up Doc. I think it's called that, with Bette Midler and I've forgotten his name now. He was in The Driver. But yeah, that's kind of what screwball comedies are. But it's also got an element of horror to it as well, due to there being plenty of horror, eerie atmosphere to it. Plenty of spooky goings on due to the set, and the setting is also well used with all of its hidden passages and cobwebs, and spiders are all around. And yeah, obviously the spiders aren't real. You can quite clearly tell that they're being pulled on a string or something like that. Also, the case for one scene where there's a rat in the foreground where he's clearly being pulled along. But yeah, I feel like it's a really rather effective mix of all of those elements. And yeah, even though it's not a full blown screwball comedy, because obviously intertitles are a lot slower to put on the screen than it would be if they were just talking, I do feel like it is kind of an early precursor to that kind of genre of film that would be more popular when obviously sound came in. The cast is also good. Carrie Demari, who I've only really seen in films that haven't been had her credited before. She was also in the Mystic, which is another silent film from this period. Ultimately, does get the biggest laugh of the film though, as she ends up walking through some cobwebs with a lot of spiders in there, screams her head off, which alerts a bunch of people that are upstairs, and she slowly walks up in out of abject terror of the fact that she's just walked through all these cobwebs and spiders, and she's covered in the cobwebs. She looks like a ghost. She's got a mouth wide open. Her eyes are staring blankly, and she basically just scares everyone when she walks up the stairs. And yeah, it's just a really, really good comic timing, and yeah, which isn't something I've seen all that often when it comes to silent cinema. It's also well paced. The inventive intertitles Rennie used in The Cat and the Canary do return in an effective way. It is overall engrossing, the effects are decent, and even though the reveal of the mystery isn't as interesting as the rest of the plot, it at least does make sense, and it isn't an annoying one either. It's not just someone that's randomly come out of nowhere and, oh, that's the real, you know, part of the mystery or anything like that. Whereas, yeah, it is a character we are introduced to, and yeah, it ultimately does make sense in that regard. So, yeah, this is the fifth and final silent film as well. It's the third and final film from Paul Lenny in this box set, and yeah, it makes up one of the stronger discs so far, as it also gets a 4 out of 5, just like the previous two on this disc, which, as you can see, is there. So, yeah, it's overall been a really good box set so far. I really wasn't all that much looking forward to these silent films starting off this box set, because I have had hit or miss, viewings with silent films in the past. But yeah, all five of these silent films have gotten 4 out of 5, and they've all really impressed me. And again, it just kind of like proves my idea that silent cinema really worked best when it came to the horror genre more than anything else. So yeah, another excellent film, and yeah, it's in 119 to 1 aspect ratio, black and white, 2.0 DTS HD MA audio, and 1080p, and the intertitles are in English. Now, although it doesn't have the complete, part talky element that was for the longer version of this film, there is still some ambient noises that are used here. There's a police whistle, for instance. There's lots of like scratches and groans and stuff that are going on in the background to add some of that horror atmosphere to it. So it's not a complete silent film in that regard, but yeah, there is no actual talking, and yeah, we won't be getting that until we look at the next film we'll be looking at in this box set. So I am actually going to be skipping over Bride of Frankenstein for a couple of reasons. One, it's not the best version that you can get out there. This is obviously only on Blu-ray, whereas obviously we already have a 4K version from Universal themselves, and there are no extras either. So yeah, it just feels a little bit redundant to actually review it via this release. So we are going to skip over to Son of Frankenstein, which has only ever had a Blu-ray release. Not sure if there were any extras for the box set that I have as part of that, if there was part of a box set. I know I have a Frankenstein box set somewhere that has the 1930s and 40s versions, but still, yeah, I'd rather skip over to Son of Frankenstein because, yeah, ultimately it does seem one that is not overly talked about. Whereas, the original Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein have been talked about a lot. Whereas, like Son of Frankenstein doesn't seem to have been so, which is a shame because not only do you have Boris Karloff returning, but you also have Basil Rathbone and Bela Lugosi. So, yeah, three iconic actors there to talk about. So, yeah, we'll be skipping over to Son of Frankenstein from 1939, and that'll consequently be the first sound film that we look at from this box set. So, yeah, but nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen the last warning before, then I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.